I'm not leaving unless I have him. I've got 3 children. 3 came down, 3 have to go back.
A mother desperate to find her child, 4-year-old Jayden Morrison, missing in Little River. The latest on the search and what you can do to help right now on WMBF News Today at 6:30.
First in high definition. Live, local, late breaking. This is WMBF News Today at 6:30.
Every hour, the search becomes more desperate with a 4-year-old child missing this morning in Little River. The more time that goes by, the more people are joining that search.
Jayden's mother told me she will not return to New York until she finds Jayden, but she thanks the volunteers for their helping in bringing her son home.
So thankful that so many people are out here where they don't have to be, helping to look for my baby.
Update now in the search for a missing 4-year-old boy with autism from our area. The young boy from White Plains disappeared Christmas Eve in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, while visiting family. Today, they found his body. Eyewitness News reporter Dre Clark in White Plains with more on this story. Dre.
Good evening, Dave. The family's home here in White Plains is dark and quiet this morning as family members are all in South Carolina mourning little Jayden's death. There was a rescue medic who found Jayden in that pond earlier this morning. Family members say they knew Jayden was a wanderer. Well, unfortunately, on Wednesday, he slipped away from his grandmother, and that would be the last day anyone would see him alive. It wasn't the ending that so many people had hoped and prayed for. 4-year-old Jayden Morrison, a little boy with autism, had been missing for almost 2 days near his grandmother's home in South Carolina. This morning he was found in a pond lifeless. Days of searching and suffering, reaching a painful conclusion.
Saw an object in the pond and it turned out to be missing Jayden. Unfortunately, it appears to be a drowning at this point.
Investigators believe he wandered away from the home and walked straight to the water where he was found dead.
Especially when you have twins, and to lose one of them in such a traumatic and terrific situation, my heart goes out to the family.
And you heard that neighbor mention that Jayden had a twin brother. I contacted authorities in South Carolina this afternoon, and they confirmed for me that Jayden was in fact a twin. So as the family is mourning his loss, at some point in time, someone will have to explain to Jayden's brother why he will never see Jayden again. We're live in White Plains. Dre Clark, Channel 7. My
heart kept leading back to the water elements not because of the water, it's because of the edges of the water, the leaves, the mud. And that day, his sensories was probably on overdrive because it was raining. And being that he's sheltered, he doesn't really get to experience nature in its full force with rain, snow, and so forth on his face, because he probably was grabbing at it and enjoying the sprinkles of rain or the showers of rain, and grab the elements. That's how I was able to see his trail from him grabbing at the ground. He might have saw his mother go, and because he's not really was not really fully tuned into his environment at that point, probably tried to go after her. Probably realized she was gone already, and then the elements probably made him say, "Oh wow, playground, this is my toy." Well, my belief is he was over there playing with the elements and probably just simply lost his footing. And because of the slipperiness and so forth, he just couldn't, turn around and in the cold of the weather, could turn around and retrieve himself, because he would have. When I went through there after they said they found him in there, I was gonna go. The instincts of nature led me to the water. And out of anger, sorrow, fright, horror, all of the above, I was heading towards the water for whatever reasons. Once I got into the water, I guess the spirituality has embraced me, and then instead of it looking at it as a dark place, I look at that as a holy ground, a sanctuary, spirit ground. That lake to me is forever. It's in my heart. So I touched it. The same sensories. I must have obtained the same sensories that my son did upon his entering in there. Because when I saw his body, it looked like he went in with a smile. I saw that and I embraced the water. It gave me a soothing feeling. And even where I put my head into it, and next thing you know, I don't know who was praying, but people just started doing prayers around me, and I heard that. But I realized that part of my solace is over there by that water, by that spot. I filled up water bottles to bring back to New York that I'm going to have the spirit of, the spirit of that water. My son's spirit, ascended from that water. That's where it ended.
Now the community is even thinking about renaming the pond after the young boy.
That pond, or as I call it, Lake Jayden, is symbolic now because it's the essence of life. So the water's still circulating. So I looked at it as now a water of life. It's something a negative turned into a positive, a soothing feeling. It's something a negative turned into a positive, a soothing feeling. And that's how I ended up just being at peace in that water. I don't know what cards the Most High holds. I just respect it and accept it, and spiritually just take care of my boy and let him be part of our inners in my heart, especially my heart. I just want to feel him in my dreams and my guidance and so forth.
The search continues this evening for a 14-year-old special education student who disappeared from his school in Queens 3 days ago and hasn't been seen since. Surveillance video shows 14-year-old Avante Oquindo, who we are told is autistic and cannot speak. He's seen running out of the Center Boulevard School in Long Island City shortly before noon on Friday. Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang spoke with the boy's mother, and she is live this evening in Long Island City. Lucy?
Well, Sandra, there's been heavy police presence out here and tons of flyers posted since Friday. That's when an autistic student simply left his school and disappeared.
If you see him, can you just call? Thank you.
From one mother to another, it is every parent's worst nightmare, a missing child. Avante Oquindo is 14 but has the mind of a 7-year-old. He cannot speak, he cannot fend for himself, and he is missing.
I love him so much, and my heart is broke because he's not home. He's not home with us.
12:40 Friday after lunch, Avante ran out of his school in Long Island City. As you see in the surveillance video, he simply ran out the door.
Even with each passing day, they're not giving up hope of finding the missing 14-year-old. 2 weeks in, the NYPD isn't either. A police helicopter scanned the riverbank near Oquindo's Long Island City School, the very place security cameras caught the autistic teen walking out the front door on October 4th.
Today, Avante's parents were searching Harlem after briefly meeting with the Reverend Al Sharpton and members of the National Action Network.
Is this terrible? Is this like a nightmare I can't wake up from?
Keep praying for us, and we're going to find Avante.
Investigators combed the shoreline and waters of northern Queens after finding human remains. Tonight, family members of a teenager missing since October wait anxiously to find out if it could be their Avante. Good evening, everyone. I'm Maurice Dubois. Christine is off. Avante Oquindo disappeared 15 weeks ago from his school in Long Island City. These remains were found miles away in College Point. That's where CBS 2's Hazel Sanchez is live tonight with more on this investigation. Hazel.
Maurice, tonight the medical examiner is conducting DNA tests to determine if the remains found here are Avante Oquindo. Now, while the clothing found on the body matches what Avante was wearing when he disappeared, an attorney for the family says they have not given up hope. This was not the potential break in the case Avante Oquindo's family had wished for. Oquindo's father, Daniel Oquindo, rushed to New York from Florida after learning police may have found the remains of his son. The 14-year-old autistic boy was last seen on October 4th running out of his Long Island City school. Based on the clothing he was wearing, investigators believe the lower part of a human torso found along the East River in College Point, Queens, appears to be the missing teen.
It's a size 5.5 Nike Jordan sneakers and a size 16 jeans, which are both what Avante was wearing on the day he left, which are troubling things to hear.
On Friday, NYPD divers spent hours searching the frigid water for the rest of the body. On Thursday, a local high school student discovered a human arm as she was taking pictures near the waterfront. Avante Oquendo's mother, Vanessa Fontaine, has given investigators her son's toothbrush and a copy of his birth certificate with his footprint.
Sad day as the tri-state area gathers for the final goodbye to teenager Avante Oquendo. CBS 2 Steve Langford was there as perfect strangers joined family and friends to mourn.
We in pain. We need your help. We need prayers too.
The funeral led by Edward Cardinal Egan, former Archbishop of New York, saluting the endless acts of kindness offered by the entire tri-state area during the exhaustive search for the boy that ended with the unspeakable discovery of body parts matching Avante's DNA in the waters off College Point, Queens.
Avante's parents sat in the front row throughout the service, stoic. Avante's mother sitting right beside her son's casket.
The farewell to Avante, drawing new.
The flag-draped coffin of Rafael Ramos.
The sparkle was the sacrifice. Whenever they put a casket on the shoulders with the fist over fist, people, this is a sacrifice, letting the elite know it's been done.
The farewell to Avante. A local funeral home covering the family's costs in response to their ordeal.
I offered to do Avante's funeral for free so that I could help alleviate any other further burden.
Four-year-old Jayden, the little boy you see in this picture. If you call out his name, he may not respond because Jayden has autism.
Avante Oquendo is 14 but has the mind of a 7-year-old. He cannot speak, he cannot fend for himself, and he is missing.
This morning he was found in a pond lifeless. Days of searching and suffering, reaching a painful conclusion.
Saw an object in the pond and it turned out to be missing Jayden.
It ended with the unspeakable discovery of body parts matching Avante's DNA in the waters off College Point, Queens.
The day after Avante Oquendo was laid to rest, his mother stood quietly next to Senator Chuck Schumer in support of legislation he's proposed in memory of the 14-year-old with autism.
Avante's law will allow his memory to live on while helping to prevent more children with autism from going missing.
And that's why Senator Schumer is asking for $10 million to fund voluntary GPS tracking devices so parents of these children can keep tabs on them. It would be managed by local law enforcement and is based on a successful grant program that helps locate missing Alzheimer's patients. With emotions still too raw after losing her youngest son, Vanessa Fontaine had her lawyer speak for her.
Someone has to pay for this mistake.
And the Oquendo family has filed a notice of claim with the city. It is the first step in the process of filing a lawsuit. The family plans to file a wrongful death lawsuit against the city.
Someone has to pay for this mistake.